Hiya friends, as usual you can find part 1 of this video on Hard Bastard's website, Hard News Network, which will be linked below. Love ya fam, and as always, I'm Aiden Paladin, Altana Volt.
If paying attention this far, you might be asking yourself, if Islam isn't a race, then how can Islamophobia be racism?
Yeah,
the answer lies in another...
Yeah, now this is going to be fascinating.
This is hysterical.
We're going
and this
to...
is...
Go ahead.
This is so indicative to me of why I called her sophomoric.
Yeah.
Because I think what happened is she Googled, essentially, like, what is Orientalism?
Uh-huh.
And it's like, oh, I got it now.
Yep.
I got it. I figured it out. I figured out the way that you can be racist against Islam, even though Islam isn't a race, and anyone with any fucking fiery neurons knows that.
Mm-hmm. And she's going to pull an Anita Sarkeesian special here. This is like a classic Sarkeesian.
I know.
It's about to come up.
It's crazy.
One many Westerners aren't particularly familiar with. That's
we are.
Orientalism. In short, the term Orientalism refers to how, for hundreds of years, Western artistic and academic history has perpetuated an ignorant and prejudiced view of the East. A view rooted in the idea of Western culture.
No. It actually has venerated a lot of these Eastern ideas.
Yeah.
It made them, they were extremely positive. They were desirable. People from Europe paid exorbitant amounts of money to get anything, to get everything from spices to carpets to textiles, anything that they could get from the Near East, because it was not perceived in a racist way. It was desirable.
It's so amazing how they have set this up so perfectly to make it impossible to avoid the trap. It's the same thing they do with like the fat chicks. The fat chicks are, if you don't want to fuck a fat chick, you're a bigot. If you're attracted to fat chicks, you're a bigot. Because
right, of course, because then you're
what is the word? Right. Fetishizing. This is the same thing. If you depict them in a negative way, you're racist. If you depict them in a positive way, you're racist because you're making it exotic. It's really fucking lunacy.
Yeah.
As inherently more advanced and enlightened, and Eastern culture as inherently more ignorant, irrational, primitive, and often highly sexualized.
No, look at this.
Again, Muslims...
That's totally incorrect. Actually, for a very long time, it was believed, and you still will learn this in universities today, by the way, that Arabic culture preserved the mathematics of the Greeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily true, and that's not really the reality of it. But that has been the narrative. Do you know what we call our language? Do you know what we call our characters? The characters that we use, they're Arabic.
Right.
The characters that we use are Arabic. This is such total ignorance of not only history, but culture and everything. It can only come from someone who is totally sophomoric.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's come from many different races and span a myriad of cultural identities. In fact, the former president of the Islamic Society of North America is a white woman, Dr. Ingrid Mattson. But let's be real, nobody who spreads the hate of Islam is talking about white ladies. Western media has contributed to a level of ignorance so great
You're
that
certainly not
many
talking
people...
about any Arabic women, though, are you either? So...
It has resulted in equating Islam with scary brown people, particularly scary brown men from the Middle East.
That's a Sikh!
It's been so...
Of course she said that, I forgot that,
she makes the point, but even though she showed in Indiana Jones that motherfucker, not saying that he's a Sikh, but like, there's no way that every person in that montage was a Muslim. That's like ridiculous.
Because you can't know, because she just fucking said, even though she's trying to conflate all this shit, just because somebody's brown and wears a certain type of clothing doesn't make them follow this religious belief. Mm-hmm. Indonesia is like 90% Muslim. Where all the Indonesian people in these media outlets that you're so concerned of? Mm-hmm. Anita? Huh?
So effective that most of you probably didn't even know that this man isn't Muslim. He's Sikh.
Again, she just assumes that her audience is fucking retarded.
She has to, I think, because she's retarded.
Yeah, I would think,
Yeah, and as we said, Muslims kill Sikhs all the time.
Exactly.
Sikhs have been persecuted by Muslims for hundreds of years. So, all right. But you didn't put that little bit in the more you know piece of shit, you fucking cunt.
Of course, because that would require her to leave her narrative that people of color didn't do nothing.
television that perpetuates this kind of ignorance. Here's comedian Kumail Nanjiani on how video games often don't put in even the absolute bare minimum of effort or research when representing the Middle East, or South Asia for that matter, which is not the same thing as the
float back into my skull.
Middle East.
Okay, so the language you speak in Pakistan is Urdu. That's the name of the language you speak, Urdu. But all the street signs in Karachi and Call of Duty are in Arabic. Yeah, it's a completely different language.
Why is this funny? Like, I don't
It's not
understand.
funny.
This is stupid.
It's, again, we went over this. Like, it's such a tiny little detail.
Like, so what?
Out of this requires such an ignorance of how much work goes into video games to think that one texture, even a bunch of textures, they didn't accurately portray your culture while you're supposed to be running around and shooting people. Oh, I'm so sorry. Next time I play I don't play games like Call of Duty, generally speaking, but like I'm way more of a nerd than that. I'm not a normie. If I saw like some signs in a World War II game and the German wasn't accurate, do you think I'm going to complain about that? And be like, it's like, that would make me so upset. This is so discriminatory. I'm going to call Uncle Adolf.
Yeah, like this is how is this his material? That's crazy.
And I know it does not seem like a big deal, but this game took 3 years.
No. See, you give yourself away when you do that. See, you know it's not a big deal, so you got to say shit like that. That's just amazing when people do that. They totally give themselves away, and people do it all the time.
To make. If you look at it, the graphics are perfect. You can see individual hair on people's heads. When they run, they sweat. When they run, their shoelaces bounce. All they had to do was Google Pakistan language.
Maybe nobody gave a fuck.
I know, who gives a fuck? That's why. It's just
again, yeah, who gives a fuck if the German doesn't make sense in some World War II game?
Seriously.
They were literally like, what language do they speak in Pakistan? I don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck either. Like, that's nothing wrong with that. Who gives a fuck?
I don't care at all.
Holy
I don't care.
shit.
Why do you care so much?
Stop trying to make your bullshit important to everybody. Your bullshit's important to you. This would be like me demanding that, I don't know, something that I find important, demanding that someone else find it important. Like, that's, shut the fuck up. Like, who do you think you are?
Well, look at all the Japanese games that exist and how often they have things in English that are spelled incorrectly. Where is your outrage? Where is your joke? Excuse me, your joke about Japanese games having English in them? Oh, that would be racist, right, wouldn't it?
Yeah. How dare we suggest? Like, isn't this the racist white guy owning the store with the sign that says "Speak fucking English"? Like, it's the same thing.
Yep.
What the fuck is wrong with these people? It's amazing. The double standard is just amazing.
Can't get his sideburns even.
Modern films, TV shows, and games definitely perpetuate Islamophobia, but it's no exaggeration to say that ignorant representations of people from the Middle East in Western media date back for centuries. Orientalist paintings of the 1800s were often characterized by overly sexualized depictions of daily life, and romantic Orientalist literature of the late 1700s and...
Well,
I know we're going to talk about this more, but...
Well, I only have this picture to go by.
Yeah.
But I'm going to just go to...
Aren't these also all... I would just imagine by looking at this picture, since you paused it here, these look like a bunch of Romans to me.
Yes, this is a French artist, but this is Greece. Best known... you know what? My screen is not sharing, but I'll just read it. It's not a big deal.
Fine.
I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, this picture, nothing to do with Muslims. It is... I'll just do a quick read here.
Looks like Greece to me. Yeah, Greece or Rome. Yeah.
Yes, the best known event in Phrynes. I'm probably butchering the name. It's the artist, or not the artist. It's the person who's naked in the picture that Anita actually censored, which is hilarious. In Phrynes' Life as a Trial, Athenius writes that she was persecuted for a capital charge and defended by the orator Hyperides, I'm butchering all these names, who was one of her lovers.
It's all Greek.
Right. Athenaeus does not...
Greek to me.
Right, it is Greek. Does not specify the nature of the charge, but Pseudo-Plutarch writes that she was accused of impiety. The speech for the prosecution was written by Anaximenes of Lampsacus, according to Diodorus Periegetes. When it seemed as if the verdict would be unfavorable, someone removed her robe and bared her breast before the judges to arouse their pity. Yada, yada, yada. It goes through the whole thing, but the bottom line here, this has nothing to do with Muslims. This is completely fucking, there's nothing to do with Arabs. This is an Anita Sarkeesian special. I would argue this is worse than what she did with Hitman, because she's just completely wrong. Yeah, she's lying. This is just wrong. I don't know.
But also, you'd have to be particularly stupid. And I think part of it is that she flashes these images so quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's on purpose. To be like, oh, look, this. It's sort of a gish gallop of images.
Mm-hmm.
Of your brain doesn't have the time to process it. Well, unless you go through it like we
Right,
are,
exactly.
and being like, hey, hang on a second,
Yeah. Hold
hold the phone. You're lying.
Mm-hmm.
This is not.
This is like literally nothing to do with what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You are. This is like the textbook definition of retardation. This is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
Insane.
And this is not the first time that she's done such a thing.
Nope.
Early 1800s served to justify European imperialism by presenting Middle Eastern people and cultures as inherently exotic and strange. So there's the conflation of Arab with Muslim, and because our ideas about Islam are so deeply linked to stereotypes about terrorism and violence, both of those categories are associated with
I mean...
Could you address why? Think. Use your brain, the thing in your head. Why?
You know,
Why?
at some point, I mean, I don't want this to happen, but at some point, it's going to have to. You would, well, no, maybe it isn't going to have to. Because, I know she's only paying attention to America. People such as her only count American terror attacks. They don't look at the other Western countries or anything like that, or Western countries. They just look at America. But I was going to say, and this is actually not correct, I was going to say that there's going to have to become a time when, if things get worse in America, that they're going to have to actually admit what's happening. But then you look at what's happening in London right now, and they're not admitting what's going on in London. They fucking told Tommy Robinson to basically submit to Islam on national television.
I could not believe that, my dude. I could not believe that.
Yeah.
That was disgusting.
That was awful.
That really was. They just called him a racist and said, you can't bring up these facts. They're not approved.
Yeah. Yep.
This is her. This is the same thing.
Yeah.
These are the approved of facts.
Jesus Christ.
masculinity and men.
Well,
Many male Muslim actors...
Yeah, no, it's well, because it's so irresponsible. I mean, no, this is causing, I would say this causes harm. This is also completely, groups like CARE, I mean, they love this. You're doing their bidding. And
exactly. This is what they want.
You're setting up, I mean, you've already set up in London, you've made it basically a blasphemy. There's blasphemy rules where they don't call it that, but it's, hate speech can be words in the UK, and Sadiq Khan has told people no crime is too small.
Did you see the Supreme Court just ruled on that, though?
Where? Here or there?
Oh, today. The U.S. Supreme Court, I believe, ruled that hate speech is free speech.
Yes. That's fantastic. No,
Yes.
We're good. We're good in America, and it's because you cannot have a person controlling what is hate speech, and that's what ultimately that would have been. And then whenever another leader comes in, they're going to use those rules against you. And you can see the media, they've already talked about hate speech against the media.
You can say, in my opinion, whatever the fuck you want.
And if I don't like what you're saying, I'm going to use my speech to to condemn it. Absolutely.
That's why we're friends, my dude.
Yeah.
In Hollywood can only find work playing bit parts as evil terrorists. Muslim women are often erased altogether.
Oh,
The
gee,
very
who
real
erases Muslim women? I'm trying to think. Could it be Western feminists who don't want to pay attention to things like female genital mutilation or acid attacks or stonings? Like yourself, Anita?
Not only that, but the fucking burqa erases women. And you're blaming us for what are you talking about?
Anita has never said a single fucking statement about female genital mutilation, acid attacks, stoning, the hijab, or the burqa, or the niqab. She's never said shit about any of that, because those are real issues that women face on this planet. She can't deal with that because she'd have to use her fucking skull. God damn it makes me so irate, dude.
Yeah. Wow. It's just it's sad. I mean, she claims to do all this work and want to do it for women, but she's damaging women with shit like this. She's completely silencing and ignoring all of the victims, as you had pointed out, that suffer, whether it's FGM, whether it's being caned for not walking outside without a chaperone. All of these people in America, the hijab is some sort of feminist symbol. Meanwhile, there are women in Saudi Arabia and other countries that are like, no, bitch, we don't want to wear this fucking thing. But those
you don't have a
completely
choice, do you?
Right, exactly.
You don't even have the option to say you don't want to wear it.
Right, exactly.
You'll die.
Yeah.
That Arab women have made.
Where feminism belongs. And you...
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God, it makes me sick.
They desperately need feminism over there, and you just completely ignore it. You'd rather fight for body representation in TJ Maxx commercials. It's really incredible.
Many parts of the world are ignored because depicting them would complicate the simplistic racist narrative about Arabs and Muslims that Hollywood continues paying attention.
And you won't do what we just said. You won't get into the complexities of how women are treated in the Arabic world and the Muslim world at large.
Yep.
Well, fuck off.
It's almost as if we don't know how to contend with women as real people.
It's almost like you don't understand how to contend with how women are actually oppressed in the real fucking world, and not in your bizarre and warped perception of oppression from a Amerocentric perspective.
I would even go further that at least with Sarkeesian, it's almost like she wants all the oppression. Like it's like all about her.
It is, and that was so evident with Sargon.
Yeah.
He was just sitting there.
Yeah.
And she was being harassed and attacked.
Yeah. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Say what? Filmmakers and TV producers know how to objectify women, how to prize them for their physical attributes and their appearance. The stories we allow
how to respect women who are actually murdered every day.
Mm-hmm.
Disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Ourselves to tell about the Middle East don't allow for the same kind of easy objectification of these brown women's bodies, and so we resist including them at all.
I'm gonna die.
Oh my God. I can't even.
What? Objection? Okay, you're objectifying their bodies. Oh, wait, but they're not. Wasn't that her point? Was it there's not enough objectification of their bodies because they're not even included?
Yeah, they're disappear. I mean, I guess she wasn't making the argument that it's like necessarily a negative that they're not included, but.
Oh, but I made this point to you before too. Is one of those little characters she just put up there was Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad movie. I think the most popular Halloween costume in 2016 was Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad film. Among women who chose to do it, Anita, because that's what they want to be sexy.
Yeah, she completely
women want to be attractive.
Yep.
Yes, women have we don't have any agency, do we? No, we're just these like brainless automatons. God fucking, oh my God.
She's a total like sex shamer. Like if you dress sexy, you're like somehow hurting the cause. It's
unless you're a woman, you say you want to, and then it's great, but it's only in the unique instance when I say it's okay.
Yeah, or what is the shit that she talks about, the male gaze?
Oh, you gotta watch out for that. I hate that, my dude.
Oh, no you don't.
Mom.
At least we can thank 24 again for casting the great Iranian actor Shohreh Aghdashloo in season 4 as a Muslim terrorist who is also a wife and mother. But
Look,
there are artists...
a positive and complex portrayal of a Muslim character.
Yeah.
But yet still it's problematic. Why is that?
Yeah, because that's you have something about what's going on right now in America. Now, certainly they obviously
of course it's media
because it's media.
You can go back to those numbers, but how much that matters though. But yeah.
Just ridiculous. It's just one of those things. It doesn't matter how you do it. And the Star Wars that she complained about was a prime example of that. That was basically the the variety box of races in the casting, and it still was not enough.
Never enough, is it?
No,
It's
never
enough.
Never enough.
Critics and writers who are out there speaking about what it means to be the target of all this anti-brown racism. And a lot of the most interesting critiques are coming from Muslim women themselves. Crap, I think I missed a call. I wonder if they left a message.
Oh, God. Vomit.
This is some cringy ass shit. Those of you that have been watching Aiden and I do these videos, you will probably recognize the person that they're about to bring on. This was the woman that in the video that we did on W. Kamau Bell's propaganda Muslim
United
infomercial.
States of America,
yes,
yeah.
That she was the first person I believe he interviewed, and she basically made no argument. She was just
crying into her donut or something.
Right. She just claimed that she was afraid and didn't provide any, like, it was just, yeah, she just wanted to cry. That's really all that it was. It was really ridiculous.
Stop using my text, my
What's
font,
up,
by the way.
Anita?
I don't like that at all.
Favorite feminist Muslim Iranian American comedian calling.
I don't think you're funny, so I don't think you get to call yourself a comedian.
Well, the other thing is, like, I love these people who are like, oh, I'm a Muslim. Like, most Muslims view you as a joke. You're totally fucking haram in this video. You don't have a fucking hijab on. You're wearing makeup. I mean, like, what the fuck?
You'd be stoned. You would be murdered.
Yeah.
You go to Qatar tomorrow, you're dead, bitch. You're dead.
Incredible.
God,
Just thinking, how come in all the, like, terroristy movies, you know, the ones where brown people are in, why are we always, like, late to all of our, like,
I'm very disgusted by her overuse of the word like. It instantly, every time you say that, it makes me evaluate your intelligence lower each time. You're stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't speak like an adult.
Well, no, she could not make an argument in that interview.
No,
that was the most worthless interview on that W. Kamau Bell show.
It was.
I was like, what the fuck was the point of this? She was just basically, my feels, I'd like to eat a donut. That's basically what it was. It was ridiculous.
D adventures. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
They always have these brown dudes yelling, "Yalla, yalla, yalla."
Look, yalla. Yeah, yalla. Guess what? Lots of people say that shit. But you know what they actually do yell? Motherfucker. Allahu Akbar.
Yeah.
They keep doing it. They do it every fucking time.
Yep.
It's not a meme. It's real.
Yep.
Why are you... I'm assuming she's, like, getting worked up about yalla. Like, and not Allahu Akbar.
And what's fascinating is I just love the anytime it's like, oh yeah, there was a guy, he blew up a train, or he attempted to stab a police officer, he yelled Allah Akbar, but it had totally nothing to do with Islam.
No.
Nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with Islam. No. Totally a coincidence.
The thing
He was a lone wolf.
Yeah, lone wolf, yep. No ideology.
Yeah, yalla, let's go. Yalla, kids, hop in the car so we could go to school and get in on some...
Like, I absolutely have no idea what the fuck she's talking about either. Like,
I told you this before, too. Like, yalla, it does mean what she's saying. She's like, come on. Like that's essentially what it means.
I've not noticed that. I just...
Because they don't yell that. What they yell is Allahu Akbar, and they do it not only in real life, but in media as well. Because, whoa, it's kind of like sometimes media is based on real life. Weird, I know. She is, like, getting upset that every once in a while someone will say yalla. But I see more positive portrayals of people in media saying yalla as like they're part of just their normal speech. Mm-hmm. So I think she's actually very confused, or just Takia lying bitch.
That's also possible, yeah.
In adventures against Claire Danes and Homeland. What is the deal with that?
Yo, seriously, what is up with that? Yalla in my house just meant hurry up because dinner's getting cold.
What is Anita Sarkeesian's background? She's Armenian, isn't she?
Yeah, I believe, and like, I don't give a fuck what happened in your household. This is stupid. This has nothing to do with anything. And like, again, this is like, everyone's so silly and racist.
I know. We should both really stop. We're being so racist.
Oh, I know.
Now.
This is like, we're definitely.
We really should just go kill ourselves afterwards. You know, just hang ourselves for our horrible racism.
Yeah, we could do something else, but yeah.
There's tremendous harm in centuries of images that reduce entire nations, cultures, and religions to the status of subhuman savages. As Jack Shaheen...
What? Oh my god.
Citation. Please.
Oh my God.
Subhuman savages. You have depicted and explained how often white people play, quote, Muslims by your own description. Understanding that you don't understand how media works and understanding the very limited effects of media, but sure, princess, subhuman savages. Go ahead.
Ian, the author of Real Bad Arabs, has said,
Politics and Hollywood's images are linked. They reinforce one another. Policy enforces mythical images. Mythical images help enforce policy.
You want to have a really good example of this motherfucker? Let me explain something. Hard bastard, have you ever heard a bunch of Polish jokes? You ever heard any Polish jokes?
Of course. Of course.
Good one? It's my favorite one.
Okay.
Oh, how come there's no ice in Poland?
How come?
Because the old lady with the recipe died.
What? Wait, the old lady with the recipe died?
Right. Yeah. It's a terrible joke.
I thought you said
ice. Oh, no, ice. How to
Ice.
make ice. That's the joke. How to make ice. Like, it's like Poles are so stupid. The joke, the thing comes from because during World War II, there was a proclivity and a preponderance in the media to make fun of Poles.
Yeah, I remember that.
They're so stupid.
I remember reading about that.
There's a whole book on it. It's called, I don't remember the exact, I believe the book is called Hollywood's War on Poland. And you're not going to find it easily, my friends. I had to buy it. It cost me like $100. So it was not an easy book to locate. But it was a little bit different then. But like the whole idea of Polak jokes have become so removed because it's so absurd that we would make fun of Poles, right? The media does not have this effect on people, even when there was a concerted effort on the part of the media to disparage a group of people, the Poles.
Mm-hmm.
Poles are being disparaged by Hollywood intentionally. And how stupid is it to make a Pole joke at this point? Nobody takes that shit seriously.
No.
So you're wrong, and I know this from every aspect of this. I can give you research and resources as to why you're wrong.
I really do think that this is all part of a push to just make it blasphemous to speak out against Islam. I mean, this is what all this shit is. That's what it is. And
name one other thing you can't talk about Islam.
I fucking reject it outright, and there's no way I'm going along with this ever.
We will reinforce old alliances and form new ones and unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism.
Racist, white supremacist symbols right there.
Oh, I know that totally.
His symbol.
Okay
yeah.
symbol.
I mean, excuse me. That's Nazi.
Recently, during the 2016 presidential campaign, Republican candidates tossed around the phrase radical Islamic terrorism as if it were some kind of magic spell they could use to make votes appear out of thin air.
Yeah, would you rather us just use the word Islamic terrorism because that's a bit more accurate?
Yeah, like what do you want us to just be like? Okay, fuck it, it's all of them. Is that what you want next? I mean, really, what?
Right.
What
What's the alternative? They are giving you the benefit of the doubt and saying that this terror that is happening is radicalized,
right?
Not normative.
Right.
Idiot.
I mean, I tell you what's interesting about that is it gives you like a window into like the bigger picture, which is, and I've been saying this the whole time, I think you've been saying this the whole time, if you do not resolve this problem now, particularly in places like the UK and France, it's going to get worse, and that's going to have a very frightened citizenry. So then you're going to have politicians run that make people like Marine Le Pen look like fucking Hillary Clinton. And that's not going to be good because at some point when you have a very scared citizenry, someone is going to recommend or put forward the idea of the unthinkable. And people, since they're afraid, are going to vote for it. That's how this shit happens. And people like us and Tommy Robinson, and I'm not suggesting that like we're the same as Tommy Robinson, but I would argue that Tommy Robinson is a fucking canary in the coal mine trying to warn people. And that's going to be on the hands of the left if any of these countries get to that point, because they could have done something.
Blood is on your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. If that
and
ever
it will
happens.
be blood. It will be blood if it comes to that point. It will be blood.
Yeah.
It will be outright war, I think. If we can't resolve this shit soon, we're talking. I don't want to be crazy or sound like a crazy person or a conspiracy theorist. But if this stuff continues at the rate that it's continuing, we're talking civil war in some places.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
that's terrifying. I don't want that. I'm a pacifist.
No.
I want people to not kill each other.
Yeah.
Right? It's terrifying.
Yeah. The guy that attacked the people coming out of the mosque, that's a horrible thing, but that's going to continue to happen because you are telling people, oh, there's no problem here. And if you even are upset, you're somehow racist. That's a ridiculous policy.
And as I was saying, I was telling you earlier, David Wood just made a video about that, which is like Andrew Breivik. He said that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Andrew Breivik, when he killed like 70 people and injured 200. When he did that, he said it was because he had tried to go through the political system to do things all in line and in order, and he could not get anything through because you were not capable, even 10 years ago, we're not capable of talking realistically about Islam in Europe.
Yep.
And he murdered people for it, and he said that's the only way you'll get people to pay attention. Guess what? Sorry, Breivik, I guess, you piece of shit. No one paid attention to you.
Yep.
Which they probably shouldn't have because he was a piece of shit for doing that. But he wasn't completely insane in what he was insane, but he wasn't completely off basis.
No,
in terms of his thought process.
Obviously, the policy is leading to shit like that. And yes, these people are crazy and they're doing horrific things, but when you put people in a desperate situation, people who are mentally unstable,
yes,
can snap. It's not. It's just amazing that
and it's going to start happening more.
It
and
is.
More.
It absolutely is.
We're going to see this everywhere. We're going to start seeing. Really, we are going to start seeing, particularly in Europe, and I will call this right now. We're going to start seeing anti-Islamic terror, and I don't want that, obviously, because again, I am a pacifist. I don't like anybody to die, but like, we're going to start seeing that.
And that's the amazing thing is that we're in a society right now that if you are saying you don't want to see that, you're somehow labeled a racist. Somehow it's Islamophobic somehow to say, let's fix the problem or do better because to avoid more lives being lost. And that's an Islamophobic position.
Isn't that astounding?
That's fucking astounding. It's scary as hell.
Terrorist, radical Islamic terrorism, radical Islamic terrorism,
radical fire Islamic that cruise missile
terrorism.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh yeah, good fucking.
I gotta make memes. Yeah. Sorry.
Islamic terrorism.
Radical Islamic terrorism.
He's saying radical, you idiots. They're all saying the word radical. Are they saying Islamic terrorism? No, they're being quite nice, I would say, to say it is radical.
Right. According to people like Anita Sarkeesian, this problem simply doesn't exist, and that's insane. That's just insane.
Yeah, you're crazy. You're a crazy person.
Islamic terrorism.
President Obama, if you won't say it, I will. Radical Islam.
The only reason tactics like these have any effect is that to so many Americans, people in the Middle East have never been established as human beings with real lives.
That doesn't even make any fucking sense. That doesn't even make any sense.
Oh, nice.
Like, what are you talking about?
Your point's always on fucking point.
Oh, I know. This is what she's doing.
oh, Muslims aren't even excuse me, not Muslims. Arabic people aren't even humans. Yeah, that's what they're saying. They're not talking about radical Islam, radical, which you yourself, you cock-sucking whore, have already established has nothing to do with being Arabic. It has nothing to do with being brown. Oh, wow, there's all these Indonesians. I guess they're kind of brown. Doesn't that suck? Indonesia is, again, like 90% Muslim. What are you talking about?
I just... No, it's the same as the Young Turks. It's, oh no, there's no problem, there's no pattern, there's no increase. It's just some crazy guy decides to make up that he wants to be, pledge allegiance to Islam, but he really isn't. It's just totally not an issue.
Here's the thing that you're not getting, okay? He was a good boy. He didn't do nothing.
Right. Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. It doesn't even make sense. Oh my God.
Hopes, dreams, and struggles. When almost every story you've ever seen about a particular part of the world paints the people who live there as monolithic, evil, and scary, you're a lot more likely to believe that it's actually
true.
true.
All monolithic. You think they're all the same fucking shit. Another good pause.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you think they're all monolithic. Absolutely. As we have illustrated, I think, very thoroughly here.
Yeah.
You're so racist. You think these people are all the fucking same. Oh, the hypocrisy is palpable.
It's just,
When people believe it's true, they aren't just more likely to support politicians and policies that appeal to fear and ignorance.
I believe that what's true, that there's right now a problem with radical Islamic terror attacks. Well, that is a fucking problem.
There's no problem there.
Oh my God.
About the Middle East, they're also more likely.
The argument is not that, oh no, there's no terror attacks happening right now. The argument is, the problem is white people in America don't even view people on the other part of the earth as humans. That's the problem.
We have that problem, don't we?
That's asinine.
Like, here's the thing. That's a problem with white people. We have a very big problem or difficulty understanding non-whites as human. Thanks, Anita.
This is the most juvenile bullshit. This is just incredible.
The term sophomoric is the best term.
Absolutely. Wow.
For what the fuck she's shilling.
Jesus Christ.
To act on that fear and ignorance themselves. The Southern Poverty Law Center notes that the number of anti-Muslim...
I mean, how... Let's bring in the fake shit. It's time to create our narrative. Bring in the Southern Poverty Law Center and the ADL. Let's come in with all the... You snatched my hijab bullshit attacks. Holy shit.
This is the most, obviously... neutral and the best source you could possibly cite is the Southern Poverty Law Center. Because we know that they have such a great track record for being honest and not a bunch of lying pieces of shit.
Oh, they are the
Go ahead, Anita.
They are the pimps. Oh my God! The ADL and the Southern Poverty Law Center are exploiting actual victims of hate crimes for their fucking organization survival. These are the most disgusting people on earth. Holy shit!
Hate groups tripled in the United States in 2016. The American Arab
citation needed.
Oh no, it's a Southern Poverty Law Center. You have to take them at their word, my dude.
Oh, of course. Well,
it's not like they've lied.
Yeah, that's how CARE rolls. CARE is like, yeah, we say it. We're not going to show you the data. Oh, okay. There's no agenda with CARE. Yeah, okay.
I believe. Yeah, CARE is funded by Qatar.
And then what are you going to do when the ADL is like, oh yeah, we acknowledge that all of those bomb threats were hoaxes, but we're going to count them anyway.
Exactly. How can you believe any of these sources when you know that by their own admission they lie?
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
We include fake crimes are real crimes. I mean, it's like a thought crime. It's you gotta update your lexicon there, my dude. Words are now violence.
Yeah, words are violence. It doesn't matter. It's just incredible.
Anti-Discrimination Committee noted the same increase after the release of Patriotic Fever Dream American
Patriotic Fever Dream.
Come on, man. Oh, I need a citation. This shit is bullshit. And like I said, on the backs, these people stand on the backs of actual victims. And it's disgusting.
No, they make... Yes, there are real victims, and that's the problem. But we saw after the election in particular, the rash of people being like, oh, my hijab was pulled off by a gang of Trump supporters, all wearing MAGA hats, of course. And they ran up to me and they said, fuck you, Muzzy, and they ripped off my hijab, and I was staying there crying, and and then, oh wait, hang on, it turned out that you weren't home in time for curfew and Daddy got mad at you.
Exactly.
Fuck off.
Yep. And they don't give a fuck. They still count it. They don't give a shit.
2016 also saw a 67% increase in anti-Muslim hate crimes.
How much was actually confirmed?
And what is a hate crime? And again, how many of them were real? Some of them were real. Most of them were not.
But bastard, you know that hate crimes, just like if somebody looks at you like the wrong way. That's like a hate crime.
Well, no. If you look at how they write it down, they'll be like, there was an Islamophobic message written in a high school bathroom. Like, that's a hate crime. Like,
No,
give
I
me a
think we're
fucking
we're at this point. If someone on the bus looks at you the wrong way, that's a hate crime.
Well, no, it's definitely a microaggression, and
Oh, it's a
those
microaggression.
count. Yeah, no,
Excuse me.
that's absolutely where we are with this. It's incredible.
Yeah,
It's
what a
like-
surprise that crimes, quote unquote, would be on the rise when you keep expanding the definition of what a crime is, you idiot.
It is. They have commodified this as an industry, and for this industry to flourish and make money, hate crimes must happen. And in order to make hate crimes happen more often, you have to change the definition of them and make it like, yes, what when we went to school and you saw, you know, Tim as a faggot in the school bathroom, that was like whatever. Now that's a hate crime. It's like incredible. Absolutely incredible.
That Trump's racist, fear-mongering rhetoric has played a part in the surge of xenophobia and violence.
Bullshit.
Of course, Trump doesn't stop with rhetoric himself. Within the first 100 days of his presidency, he has repeatedly tried to push through bans preventing the citizens of several Muslim-majority countries.
Like Obama did?
You mean Obama's travel ban that he only add Syria to?
Syria is the only new country. Here's the thing, and I have to ask you this because I know we already broached it, but is she ignorant or is she lying?
That's the question. Yeah, that's exactly.
Does she just not know? Because if you follow CNN and that's your only source of news, she would be in her own mind completely updated on everything.
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't understand that. Like I was talking about this with Sinatra earlier, which is like, how many civilians did Obama kill with sanctioned drone strikes? Do you see anything about that?
No.
Oh, one civilian dies under Trump. Oh no!
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, please, praise the heavens! How terrible! We need to cry about this. This is astounding. That this video came out, my dude. How long ago? Like a month?
Yeah, maybe
3
a
weeks
month.
ago,
Maybe a month. Yeah.
And she is still spewing this narrative without. I think everyone accepted that, like, oh yeah, by the way, Obama had that same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Within like a week of him proposing the travel ban.
Yeah. Yep. She does not.
You're ignorant. You're either ignorant or you're lying. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Countries from entering the United States. He dropped the U.S. military's most powerful non-nuclear bomb on Afghanistan.
Now that's insane.
Again,
because that was a completely legit move. They bombed ISIS. You can't bomb ISIS now? From what I understand, there was minimal civilian casualties with that. Yeah. And they were dropping it on ISIS. Or was it ISIS or was it Al-Qaeda? Regardless, it was fucking terrorists. Like,
but where is her criticism?
Right, we can't bomb terrorists now? I don't understand.
But where's her criticism of Obama using drone strikes on civilians? Where is it?
She doesn't give a fuck.
No, because you don't give a fuck about these people. You don't view them as human.
Nope.
For all of your proselytizing and for all of your bullshit, Anita, you do not view Arabs or Muslims as people. They're only tools in your narrative.
Yeah, exactly. She's a projector, this one.
And he fired 59 Tomahawk missiles at, I don't know, some Middle Eastern country while eating the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake.
Watch what we simply have is a case of misspeaking, and she turns it into this narrative. This is the behavior of a total propagandist.
I was sitting at the table. We had finished dinner. We're now having dessert. And we had the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake that you've ever seen. And we've just launched 15
minutes. We edited. Of course, we had to make sure we edited it right there.
Missiles.
Good thing you didn't have 2 scoops of ice cream with it.
Oh, I would have been outrageous. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you headed to Syria?
Yes, heading toward Syria.
So he misspoke. So who gives a fuck? You misspeak.
It's not like a president or any politician that's ever misspoken before.
Do you know the level of retardation you have to be operating at? That you actually think that the president of the United States launched missiles and didn't know what fucking country he was launching the missiles to? That's not how this works at all. It's incredible. It's like they don't even bother to look into seeing like how this shit works. It's the same fucking idiots that think that the Russia investigation would have ended by firing Comey. That's preposterous.
And you said this as well. You said this as well. Here's the issue. Now, if he had actually fired missiles at the wrong country, that would be something to be like.
Been a huge fucking issue. It would have
but
been.
He just misspoke on an interview. He didn't fire the missiles at the wrong country.
It's like it's just asinine. Oh my God! Like how? Like it's your level of political acumen here has to be like -0 to even like follow this line and be like, oh yeah, this makes sense. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Your joke's
Iraq,
shitty.
Syria, what's the difference? It was just one of those countries that the evil, scary brown people live in.
But did he bomb the wrong country,
Exactly.
Anita? No. You found an interview where he misspoke. What was the actual outcome, though? This is the problem with these leftists, is that they view words over actions.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
It's like that's one of the most retarded arguments I've ever seen, and that's just what I do for a living. And like this is really just pathetic.
Now, I can already hear the army of Richard Dawkins parroting anti-feminist Twitter users typing up their responses about how Islam is a religion dedicated to oppressing women.
How would you know you don't read any criticism? You actually do, but you say that you don't.
I actually, you know what, though? I don't think she does. I really think she doesn't, because her response to Sargon, to me, was indicative that she is so triggered by even the presence of somebody who might disagree with her, that she has never, ever actually had to deal with criticism. Yeah. She just, not allow any comments, not allow like or dislike ratios.
Yeah.
No.
She's very infantile with it. It's almost as if she acts like a child that is like tries to shield herself from it. Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, I did realize I know where she got her dress from. She got it from AliExpress, I think.
Oh, really?
And it's like a $12 dress.
Oh, okay.
Because I've thought about buying it.
Well, I guess she's not spending money on clothes.
Well, maybe she's got some money issues, considering it's just not working so well anymore.
Possibly.
The scam.
Yeah.
Amazing how suddenly everyone's a feminist when it lets them perpetuate hate against brown people or dismiss concerns about how...
I want to just explain how disgusting it is that you would categorize people's concern for women in like Saudi Arabia as that. Because even let's say even if that was true, like why wouldn't you see, this is the difference between like, look, I don't like Kat Black, but there's a difference between like Kat Black and Steve Shives. Like again, I don't like Kat Black at all, but when it came to that whole thing with the girl who tried to escape Saudi Arabia, now Kat Black did give the speech of all the but she actually did talk about Saudi Arabia. These fucking people refuse to, and even when they get platforms with the UN, they refuse to. That's the difference between a person who's you're like retarded in your argumentation, but you're doing you're at least doing it, and a fucking scumbag that is like an exploiter.
I cannot because I'm not inside her head, so I don't know if she's stupid or lying. But for her to make these kinds of statements. And what as she's about to continue to go on to do, which is to be like, oh yeah, whatever, women getting acid thrown in their faces or stoned to death. Oh, we don't need to focus about that because you know what's the real issue, hard bastard? Mm. You know what? It's women. People being mean to them online.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
That's the real issue that feminism should be focusing on because that is so terrible.
Yeah.
Not actual violence towards women.
One of the key indicators of the type of character she had was how she categorized it. When T.J. Kirk did a fundraiser for these women who were actually oppressed, and they raised like over $100,000, and she categorized that as an attack on her. That's you're dealing with a scumbag, because a person who at least isn't a scumbag is going to be like, well, I'm glad to see the women
even
get
if I disagree.
Even
if I disagree with you.
Exactly. But no, it was an attack on her. And that just showed you the level. This is a scumbag. This is a horrible person.
It's exactly like, like Onision's thing when he was talking to Jeff Holiday, where he was like, I won't go on YouTube to talk about it because, you have to give money to my wife because she's a victim of harassment.
Right.
That is exactly the same kind of thing. It is so self-centered. Mm-hmm. It is so egotistical. And it is so evident that the only person in your mindset or in your cogent fucking comprehension of reality is you egotistical cunt.
Yep, absolutely.
how women are oppressed in their own culture. So let's be
Exactly.
clear. Misogyny is not a problem with Islam. Misogyny is a problem that some cultures, which happen to be Muslim, use the religion to perpetuate and justify.
Bitch,
Okay.
it's codified in the fucking scripture. What the fuck
Now
is wrong with you?
Let's be fair. There are things. We need to be fair. There are things in Christianity.
Absolutely. They tell women to shut the fuck up in Christianity in the Bible. I agree. Absolutely.
Sure, but who is enforcing it?
Right, exactly. Right. Is that
in
enforced by the government?
In which faith? Yes, in government enforcement, which the Quran, the Hadith, both state must be, because the Quran is the last, final, and direct word of God that cannot be questioned nor interpreted. Okay? Therefore, the Quran is not only the word of God, but it is law and must be made into the law that rules the people.
Yep.
Is that what Christianity states, Anita? Anita, is that what Christianity states?
No, pay
could you point
Caesar's
out to me?
things to Caesar.
Yeah, could you point out my shit? Could you point out how the Vatican are they stoning women? Are they throwing acid in women's faces in the Vatican? Are they throwing gays off roofs in the Vatican or in Poland? Well, I haven't seen it yet.
The level of ignorance here is exhausting. It really is.
Is it ignorance or lies?
Well, that's the question. I think with her, it's more lies. Like, I mean, you look at her demeanor and
look at her face right
yeah,
here.
no, I think it's lies here. I don't think she gives a fuck. I think she's about herself, and she treats everything like she treats the subject of video games. That there's footage of her. She's like, I don't like video games, but she decided to do it because it would benefit her financially.
Because it was it was profitable.
Exactly.
Video games were the hot topic.
And so are women's issues for her. That's why she doesn't actually deal with any actual women's issues. It's ones that she can profit off of.
Any woman who considers, I do not consider myself to be a feminist. We've had some conversations about this. I definitely do not consider myself to be a feminist. I won't go into too much detail, but there are things that I believe that I think many people would find wholly objectionable in terms of my beliefs on women's rights. And I still think I would call myself a feminist or want to be a feminist if I was looking at women in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
They don't even have the right to live.
Yeah.
As men.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, guess what? That's where feminism makes sense. And you're just painting over it.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Christianity has been used as a tool to oppress women around the world for millennia.
Oh, I see. So one person did it. It's okay for the other person to do it.
Exactly.
What kind of reasoning
Have you not
is this?
figured that out?
Fucking idiot.
By the way, not on the same level. Yeah, point out to me where women are being... What Christians are stoning women to death for being raped. Point that... You, Anita, you find me even a cult, a sect of Christians that are stoning women to death for being raped.
Jesus Christ.
And we could even start to have this argument, but you can't, can you?
Nope.
Specifically because our media perpetually equates Islam, a religion followed by nearly a quarter of the world's population, with evil, terrorism, and oppression.
They're doing it their fucking self, dummy. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit, man. You throw gay people off of buildings, you cane women for not having chaperones, you're going to get my fucking attention. You see what you know what I mean? You scream death to America, you tell us you want to kill us, and then you proceed to kill us, and we're not supposed to even notice any sort of issue.
You're not allowed to fight back. You're
Get
not
the
allowed
fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Because you should be so self-hating, because everything about you, Italians aren't white, but, for being a white person. but you need to hate yourself so much for being white that you need to just prostrate yourself in front of these people.
And the thing is, you're funny. I love that.
I love
you're in a situation here where people are not going to always be charitable enough. People aren't always going to be charitable and say it's radical Islamic terror. Those days have an expiration date, and people don't realize that. It's going to
stop. You keep lying. You keep doing this Taqiyya shit. Guess what? very soon, it's not going to be people in the mainstream
No.
saying it's a radical Islamic terror.
Nope.
They're going to start saying it's Islamic terror.
Yeah.
And if you want to actually be concerned about the rights of Muslims, watch out, because if you keep lying like this, we will actually start to see, you know what? You're right, Anita. You're right. The Crusades will happen again. We will make it Constantinople again. We'll make Istanbul Constantinople again. You keep we will retake Jerusalem, motherfucker. We will do this.
You know
Crusade 2.0.
You know what's funny, actually, like when you put the joking aside, if things continue the way they are, history will repeat itself, actually. That's actually true.
But it's not the way she thinks it is.
No.
It's the total opposite. It's if people like her continue this lying bullshit, you're going to radicalize people. It's not the media, as I've just shown you.
Mm-hmm.
In the most basic of correlational models, it is a correlation, not a causation. Correlational model is a small effect of under 0.20 in all 0.20 or lower in the standardized models. That means, and that's correlation, so it's not causation. Mm-hmm. You're fucked. Your shit means nothing. Media is such tiny little influences on people. Little shit. But if you keep doing this, and I'm not talking about media, I'm talking about cultural exchange, right? How people communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Through social media, for example. Being like, if this is the narrative that everyone is saying, and I'm saying your friends, because social networks, for example, I hate when I go on tirades like this.
No, you're good.
But for example, if you're fat, okay, so you're boogie, right? Your friends are like 80% more likely to be fat too. Okay. Because people who have certain lifestyles tend to be friends with similar lifestyles. People who believe certain things tend to be friends with people who believe similar things. That is actually the origin of the term social network. Mm-hmm. And social network research indicates that the people we're friends with tend to look and believe, act, and think very much like us. My fear is that if this kind of shit becomes the cultural norm, yes, you will see a second crusade. Because the reactance against this is absolutely going to, that will radicalize people, just as radical Islam radicalizes people.
When you cut off people's way to express themselves about very traumatic shit, it leads to really sinister happenings, and this is very bad. Let's finish this out, and then there's something that ties into that I want to mention that I just saw in the Huffington Post.
So many people believe that's what Islam actually is. Our entertainment media's insistence on constantly portraying people from the Middle East as scheming oil sheiks, slavers, snake charmers, and suicide bombers, but never as real people, has real consequences.
No, it fucking doesn't. You are lying.
Here in the U.S., and everyone who is or looks like they could be Middle Eastern constantly face ignorance and racism. They live in fear of the very real possibility of being accosted or attacked because someone takes a look at them and associates them with everything they've seen in the movies and everything the president has said about people.
No. I gave these data. No. Wrong. Incorrect. Demonstrably false.
It's very
headache, dude. Fuck.
This fuels the flames and is irresponsible, and it's just incredible that you can get up here and say this shit. That's just amazing.
From the Middle East. What we need now are more stories that dispel the deeply harmful stereotypes and encourage us to see people from the Middle East, whether they're Arab or Muslim or neither or both, as what they really are. Human beings.
Shut the fuck up.
Did you also see how she conflated? She said Middle East and then she said Arab and Muslim, even though she's trying to say that Arab is not a race, that not from a specific part of the world, like Muslims aren't from a specific part of the world. You can't even keep your own narrative straight, Anita. No. You can't even keep your own shit.
The idea that this is about people not viewing Muslims as people is ridiculous. This is very simple. Make whatever fucking movies you want to make, because that's fucking irrelevant. Tell the truth about what's happening. That's it. That's how you at least help not make it worse.
Yeah, Jesus and again, Christ. The numbers don't support, the data do not support your narrative. We're talking, oh man, this makes me upset. Because it is upsetting to me because, in part, because I know a lot about media psychology, but also because Jesus Christ, I think she does too. I even though I've read her diss and I know that it's stupid and bad, she had to learn some of this, which I think does mean she's lying.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a good chance of that. Yeah, I definitely think she
How
is
the fuck long have we been going on this, my dude? It was
a
a
while.
60-minute video.
Yeah.
It's been like 2 hours.
Yeah, we've been going for a while. Let me just do this thing. I'm not going to read the article. I just want to point it out because, you know, I did the video on Tommy Robinson, and I found that to be a chilling thing, and I was like, that's fucked up for the UK. Now we're starting to see some bullshit. This was retweeted by Pure Cancer Linda Saussure.
Of course.
And this is the Huffington Post. This is not the Huffington Post UK. This is a person who is in Dallas calling for this. This is an article. I'm going to do this Monday on the news stream. This is an article calling for Google to censor sites that are critical of Islam.
Oh,
this is outrageous.
We can't talk honestly about some things if they're protected speech, right?
And they're saying it's spreading hate. It's incredible. This has to be absolutely fucking rejected. The idea, this would be like the Jehovah's Witnesses telling Google to remove all the critics.
Could you imagine Scientologists being like, remove all negative shit about Scientology?
Exactly correct. This is outrageous, and you want to go do this in Saudi Arabia? Be my fucking guest. I don't give a shit.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I will not do this in America. Fuck off. You can call me whatever
this
name
is America,
or
buddy. Fuck off.
Or you want. You can fuck yourself with this bullshit. Fuck this.
This is America, buddy. Yeah. Fuck off.
So yeah. So we'll close on that. This is why we always do. I think this is why we do these, because this shit is very important, because there is a non-stop barrage of Islamic propaganda in the American media, and it is bullshit. It's based off of lies, and we're not having it. Fuck this.
Yeah, fuck it.
So thank you for joining me, and we will look out for the next line of bullshit to debunk, but I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, with some real cancer, my dude. I think I might have to get some chemo now. That was horrible.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you very much, everybody.